I think we're good at last. I think. I think we're good. Holy. Yeah, this is trying to find it here. Okay, yeah, here's the actual online. I just have an MP3, so here's the non-MP3 version. There we go. It's good. Oh man, it's good. I'm glad I got some more love too. AGDQ. Oh heck yeah. So good. Put in the chat here. Yeah. Being at AGDQ last week, right? It was a pretty killer time. It was very nice. It was like the first time I've been at any kind of GDQ just to be there, just to hang out, watch some speedruns, hang with the Celeste crew, hang with the Tunic crew. It was a good time. Certainly, it was very, very fun. I bet I didn't queue this up ahead of time, but I can find it very fast. It's very easy. Or can I? Let's see here. Sorry, sidechain off. Come on now. Here it is. Okay. Check it out. Check it out. This is pretty exciting. This was like...
What is up, GDQ? Let's go.
Career highlight stuff right here.
As Joe mentioned, this is my first run. I'm super nervous, but we're all going to have fun together. My name's Radicun. You can call me Rad, and I'm running Tunic, which is an isometric action adventure about a tiny fox in a big world where you explore the wilderness, fight monsters, and find secrets. I'll be running any %, which is new game to credits, and we'll be running unrestricted, which is any glitches allowed. I can do anything I want to get to those credits.
He's so good.
Helping me on commentary today are two lovely gentlemen, the first of which is a fellow Tunic speedrunner, creator of the Tunic Randomizer, which just got accepted to Archipelago a few days ago, Silent Destroyer. Silent?
What's up? I'm Silent. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Silent. And a man whose reputation precedes him, the audio director of Tunic, the creative director of Power Up Audio, and the developer of Phonopath, Mr. Kevin Regami.
Right? The developer of Phonopath. What a mensch. So funny. Yeah, they didn't warn me he was going to say that at all. It's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, he killed it. It was so good. There's one glitch I want to show you in particular. It's so funny. It's here. Yeah, here he's trying the same thing again and again. It's very funny.
This will be used for some death warps later on. Cigarette. He opened that.
Yeah, ladder storage is
Is it here?
It's a little broken.
Oh yeah.
Here we go.
So now we're in lower Ziggurat. He opened that chest to get some extra bombs. Will be used for some death warps later on. But we're going to use the effigy once again, not for its intended purpose, but for a glitch called wrong warping. If you use the effigy on the same frame that you hit a load zone, it will transfer our position from the previous room going into the next room. If he gets it right, it'll let us skip all the way past all of the enemies.
Yeah, so basically the game gets confused between pulling the effigy out and like where to put the fox, like for the effigy animation. And if you do it in the same frame as leaving the room, then in the next room it's like, oh, I don't know where the fox is. What happened? Oh well, I'll just put it at like the 000 coordinate. And there's one room in the entire game where that's helpful. You can do this on any portal the entire game, but in this room it just happens to warp you like across the whole room and land nicely on a little platform. It's just happens to be directly beneath 000 as a coordinate, but it's 120 FPS and it's frame accurate. So it's like, it might as well be random, right?
Becca and Adam, that's Finji. Thanks so much.
The Weasel Gang.
It happens like right here, I guess. Yeah, right there.
Let's go.
Oh my god. Great job. I love that it just works.
Barely lands on the edge right there. If that weren't there, it wouldn't work.
It spawns us perfectly past everything. And this is historically one of the most annoying rooms in the entire...
So funny. Anyways, that's a fun one. And then the other fun one that I got to be a part of was the Celeste Strawberry Jam beginner lobby. It's this one here. It's very exciting.
All right. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Talia, tearing it up.
Yeah, I'll be running Strawberry Jam Beginner Lobby. This is a massive mod made by hundreds of people, and it has 5 different difficulty lobbies. It goes from beginner all the way to Grandmaster. I'll only be playing the beginner lobby in this run. And I think with that, actually, yeah, here my couch introduce himself.
Hi, I'm Savadra. I'm a runner of this game and also this collab. I run primarily the intermediate lobby, and I was joined on the couch with Talia. Honored to be here.
Hi, I'm Frozen Flagon. I captained the intermediate lobby, and I made one of the levels in the beginner lobby. Super stoked to be here.
Hi, I'm Kevin Regami. I'm creative director at Power Up Audio, and I was audio lead on Celeste. So, in a sense, I kind of didn't work on this run. Like, this is a completely beyond the game kind of thing we're seeing here.
Yeah, it was so funny. So basically,
for the first time 2 days ago.
Yes, I did play through the beginner lobby. This collab is crazy. It's like 350 people made this thing, somewhere in that range, like give or take 10 or something. But it's like, I mean, the modding community for Celeste has been pretty nuts in general, but this particular collab is so sizable. It's just crazy how much work went into this thing. So yeah, Talia only played the beginner lobby. I've seen random people on random streams playing the collab in random places, but I've never played it through myself. So on like early in the week, because this run was on the Thursday of the week, I asked Talia in particular, like, would it make sense if I were just to play what you're going to play just through in a sitting? Like, how long does that take for a casual run, like of someone who can play the game? And everyone's like, 5 hours-ish, maybe 4 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours. It ranged widely. There's some maps that are puzzle maps, like they were just solve the puzzle and the whole room is right there for you. But it's like if Celeste were a puzzle game kind of thing. So how fast can you solve a puzzle? Who knows, right? Might be an hour. So yeah, word spread quickly, and then it ended up being me in one of the hotel rooms, just like with the entire Celeste posse, just spectating, and I played the thing through in 5.5 hours. It's very, very silly. But there is a great moment in this level right here. This level. I think it's right here, actually.
They're coming up here.
I can see it's on.
And it's
They're coming up.
Kevin found that.
Yeah, it's right here.
They're coming up here.
So this drop, it's a VVVVV, if you know that game, mod basically. So it treats Celeste with the mechanics of VVV. Is by Frozen Flygon. Actually made this mod with Bean Jammin. I was playing through here, and while falling in this screen, I was like, whoa, what happens if you die in here? Because you're just falling through the room. Like, where's the respawn point? How's it handle that? Would I go here or something? And so, but I thought of it too late. So when I went to dash into the spike to test my question, like, oh, what happens? I wonder. Because there aren't really any screens like this in Celeste proper, where you can like fall through a screen and also kill yourself somehow in that room. But I guess you just like pause and retry in the same room too. But mind you, did the same thing. But so I tried to kill myself, but it did just a bit too late and did it like right at the top. How did this? Like this? Yes. So I did it like right here and went to dodge into the spike, and instead accidentally transitioned the screen and died like right here instead on the next screen. And yeah, as a result,
Kevin skip.
Let's go.
as a result, it turns out that if you kill yourself in the first 2 frames of this room appearing, you can skip this respawn point and skip to this respawn point instead, just like a quirk of this room in particular. So saves 0.6 seconds, Talia tells me. But yeah, so just like accidentally found some nonsense. So yeah, 2 frame respawns, exactly. Very silly. So yeah, the room exploded because everyone knows the run very well, of course. Talia's like, what? That happened. It's very silly. Anyway, so I'll maybe link both of these in the chat. Both these runs, they're both worth watching for sure. They're both super good. Talia and Radikun each did an amazing job with their runs respectively. I mean, for all the viewers they have, I mean, into the hundreds of thousands lifetime. And live, so many, like tens of thousands, 100,000 folks watching the stream. It's pretty nuts. Nerves are, they're running high for sure. Anyway, not entirely why we're all here, I suppose it's safe to say. Did I link this in the chat too? I can't recall. Did I? I did. Good. It's in there. We are here to have a look at Nico King and Alessandro Mastroianni. Are you here, by the way? I saw Nico's here. I'm not sure if Alessandro is chilling or not. Also, yeah, the Baldur's Gate mix of the cover. I'll mention really quickly too. So I took it upon myself before this GDQ to again amass some music. Thank you, Matt Sexton, in the chat, by the way, for sending some things in. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how many people sent things in, but it was some 400, 500 tracks even. Like it was like 480 or something that came in. And yeah, it was it was pretty crazy, like staggering as always. Just the sheer creativity and just the craft of all these covers and remixes and such of all this game music. But yeah, the point of which is to amass all this music to then have played on stream during GDQ, kind of in the breaks. Because given that Games Done Quick is such a community-focused kind of event, I mean, it's nothing without its community, right? Why not push that spirit into the break music as well between runs? They have to do setup time and do donation readings and all these things, interviews here and there. There's a lot of kind of downtime in between runs. So yeah, why not throw in some tracks like this amazing cover? And it's the kind of thing too where people are sending these things in. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to share this with all these viewers. And you watch the chat, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's a bop, it's a jam, man, this thing slaps. Everyone's so happy. So it's and yeah, this stuff gets more attention too. I hope that Celestial Fury got some more love. I mean, here's a comment right here. Greetings from HDQ. There it is, right? So it's nice seeing that people get a few more ears and eyes on all their hard work, But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some real talk things. So the chat, hello everyone. Yes, welcome back. Thank you for your not being here last week, but being here this week instead. Looking at Nico King. Hello, Nico, in the chat. I saw you. And Alessandro, if you're here, please let me know. If you're not, no sweat. We'll still talk to you as if you are, and you can watch the VOD later on. No problem. But let me do some zooming in here also. 150 and 150. Killer. Env is you. Killer. Env Filt. Envelope and filter. 2 important parts of our creative process. Isn't that right? Yeah, this is Real Talk. We're having a look at some game audio demo reels, some demo materials, portfolios, etc. These websites from some up-and-comers in the game audio space. Alessandro Mastroianni, who is sound designer, composer, and Nico King, who is game audio, it would seem. We are going to be looking at these things from a couple different angles. So these ones down here, we're looking at presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. These are some criteria that myself and Clay Entertainment's Matthew Martinson came up with years and years ago, just as some kind of, a gist of what are the markers that we're looking for. And perhaps we always kind of knew but hadn't defined it. But yeah, over a coffee, just worked through it, thought, okay, well, we're looking at how it's all put together. These various criteria, they all kind of fit together, like under, umbrella presentation, why not? And then next, we're looking at, okay, what are the things they chose? Are they putting in student projects? Are they putting in game jam pieces? Are they putting in sound redesigns and implementation demos or whatever? Narrated content, voiceover editing content. Like there's a lot of possibilities as far as what one could put in their reel. And there's some better options, better than others as far as options are concerned, especially when it comes down to what your goals are. Because I mean, just as a very obvious example, if you want to work in AAA projects, like in the next a game, like the next game by Larian, like the next Baldur's Gate, something like that, then maybe put things in your reel that resemble that project, so that when that team looks at your reel, they can say, "Oh," and they kind of see you in their project, or vice versa, as opposed to, "Hey, here's a bunch of like student things I did that are all 2D platformers." It's like, cool, it might sound great, but there's no indication here that you have a passion for, a 3D, a high fidelity 3D world, sprawling RPG kind of project. So being able to communicate a little more about what your past work history looks like and your ambitions for the future and your skill sets currently and so forth, that can go a long way. The kind of thing where if we just like turn our sound off and look at your reel, can we answer some of those questions without even listening to your stuff? It's really important to be able to convey some of that information just kind of in the little time you have that someone has, during which someone's looking at your page, Third, content quality. Just, is it good? Is it at that industry standard of awesome? And so we're looking at it from a bunch of angles, generally from how do you create an engaging mix? Are we considering balance of various elements in the soundscape, or panorama, like placement of things left to right? Are we looking at dynamics, both over time and just in general, like moment to moment, loud things versus quiet things? And does that all make sense? Is it all there with purpose? Frequency range. Are you putting bass and treble? Are you considering masking? Are you considering things poking through the mix and like frequencies working together in a way that supports the narrative, and so people can keep track of what's going on without missing things? Is stuff muddy? All that stuff. Dimension is an important one too. Dimension. Are we creating a sense of space? And that could be a physical space. You're in a cathedral. Does it sound big and reverberant? You're in a dream sequence. Does it sound surreal? Can we tell it's not a real place? There's things like that to consider. Josh, Adam Bell, dude, Alan Wake 2 is so good. It's so good, man. I played through recently. Played to the end. Bomb. So good. It is bomb. I mean, I played it through, but or at least I played some of it. I finished it now. I don't think you knew that much, but it is now done, and good job. Well done, team, all around. Last thing, distinction. Are you standing out in some positive way? Because there are a whole lot of people who want the job that you want, and in this season of mass layoffs, it's only gotten more difficult. So it's pretty damn important to be standing out in some way. And I mean, my blanket advice to anyone who will listen, if I have to say it in one sentence, is just make yourself impossible to ignore. That's your goal. Showing your skills might not be enough. Showing what you're good at might not be enough. It's got to be like, okay, but how are you showing this? Are you showing it in a way that knocks our socks off? That's going to be what sets you apart from somebody else. Because I hate to break it to you, but a lot of people have the skills. A lot have the skills necessary for this job. It's a matter of how do you set yourself apart as far as being serious, very serious, impossible to ignore how serious you are about this project or this possibility, this work prospect. So, shall we? We shall. All right. I didn't do like a self intro either. I mean, I feel like everyone here knows who I am. But yeah, hi, I'm Kevin Regimi. I am co-founder and creative director at Power Up Audio, and we do a lot of sound for a bunch of projects. Myself, I've worked on I should probably do a count sometime soon, but I mean, into the hundreds of projects for sure, well over 300 projects, I'm sure, in various ways in terms of sound design and voiceover and across the board performing and editing and directing and design, all that stuff. Music composition, music editing and design, implementation across a bunch of different engines and so forth. So there's a lot of stuff over 14 years-ish in the industry now. So I have not worked on a lot of shooty style games and car games. that's a big blind spot in my history, but I'm okay with both those things. It's not really my jam entirely. But so if you have a lot of guns in these reels, folks, that may have I may not be the person to talk to, but I know there's a lot of very talented folks in the chat usually who will be, I suspect, more than happy to offer their opinions as well. And yes, hello to you all who are joining us again. Good to see you. Shall we? It's 12:30. Enough talking, Kevin. Excuse me. Let's do Nico first. Nico King. Have you been on Real Talk before, Nico? I feel like I've seen your name plenty on, I don't know, maybe Twitter and stuff. I feel like and you've been in the chat plenty as well. I'm sure of that too. Oh, I think I know this handle very well. Yeah, you've watched a lot. I thought you had. It's always a matter of marrying the online handle with the actual name, being like, oh wait, I know that person already. I've seen them plenty in the chat and so forth. So cool. Yeah, I'm always happy to. I'm always particularly excited to have a look at the work from people who have been in the chat a bunch, because it's okay, we can probably get into some good conversation because you've seen a lot of what we talk about on this broadcast. So let's have a look. We got demo reel, we got about, and work. Okay, vertical page. Oh, and it's back. There it is. It's back. Work. I think that was an issue in a previous stream, 1 or 2 ago. It was a vertical page, but if you scrolled up, it wouldn't appear again, so you couldn't click it again. All right, so we have an about to read. Let's do it. Hi, I'm Nico. I design sound for games in Victoria, Canada. I didn't know that. What's up, neighbor? I developed my passion for digital audio during my undergrad in Sydney, Australia, where I lived for 4 years studying religion and philosophy. Really? I began recording and mixing bands in small apartments, and through this process, learned how to translate my ideas for audio using a computer. Upon my return to Canada, so you are Canadian, I entered full-time work as a FOH, front of house, sound engineer. You must have just right, front of house engineer for a historic venue in Victoria. After several years of live audio, I shifted focus to pursuing work in audio-visual media, that is, videos and feature films. This new work gradually led me to the world of interactive games, where that's kind of a extra word there. We'll come back to it, where I have been adapting my audio skills to contribute to building stories for the past 2 years. I'm not embarrassed to admit I have worked many side gigs to pursue my work in audio. Cell tower rigging, rope access teching, window cleaning, music teaching. All of these experiences have contributed to my work ethic and determination in learning new skills. Cool. I'm self-taught, curious, and enjoy collaborating with others towards a creative vision. What a nice little bio. It's pretty beefy. Even stuff like this. I feel like I'm learning about you. This kind of thing, it feels like a call to action. Let's talk about rope access teching, What is that? Tell me. What is the deal with rope access teching? A question I've always wanted to ask. Yeah, interactive games is kind of a funny thing to say. That stuck out to me as a weird thing to say. I mean, interactive media or just video games, but interactive games is kind of a, is this word redundant? Maybe I'm just not thinking. Games that are not interactive, like, like what? Like We Are OFK is like an example of that, I suppose. It's like bridging the gap between not so interactive games and film games, whatever. Cool, nice bio. I have not many notes. I feel like I know you already. It's great. Also, this is just there's a lot of like, oh, really? I kind of raised an eyebrow a couple times. Like, you're studying this, but doing digital audio. Mixing small bands. Or mixing bands in small apartments, I should say. You got skills, Logic Pro, Unreal, Fmod, Unity, RX10, Pro Tools. Great. Cool. Sibelius. Shout out. All right, we got some work here. Last of Us gameplay sound redesign. There it is. Great. Last of Us 1. You don't need to say 1. Just say The Last of Us. If you say The Last of Us, we know what game you're talking about. It's fine. 1 is kind of funny. Leave it alone. Celeste. Implementation gameplay. Okay. We'll watch that for sure. And the Fmod project too.
Hey.
Hey. Jump scare. Jump scare, hey. All right. Oh, by the way, Celeste came out 6 years ago. Today. So how timely, Nico. Thank you. Or was it tomorrow? I think it's today. Isn't it today? 25th? Pretty sure. Beautiful Light. Okay. Dying Light 2. Skate Story. Lots of things, Nico. Killer. So many things. Goner 2. This is a lot of like, it's a wide range of stuff too. Jeez, Goner 2 and Last of Us. Interesting. Massive. Yeah, I use it a lot for Celeste too. The Pathless redesign. You've been working. Jeez, a lot of things. A whole lot of things. Whoa. Okay, my mouse is freaking out. Here we go. Let's watch Real. I'm stoked. Turn on sidechain and volume up. I think we're good. If my interface will behave, we have sound. It's 1 minute and 8. Sweet spot. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Cool. Oh, my my applause button is not working. Oh, things were going so well. It's not even on. FL isn't even open. Give me a second. Let's fix that. I gotta not show you though, because things are NDA. I want to show you like a. Oh, what was that? That sounded wrong. Was that wrong? Oh my god. Okay, no FL. Didn't sound good. Okay, screw it. The interface is falling apart officially. Is it gonna do it here? It sounds fine in here. That's so bizarre. I have no idea. It's like it's distorting out of one app, but not from another. I have no idea. So strange. So strange. Cursed Apogee's back. Exactly, right? I think it's time to retire this interface. It's just, unfortunately, how annoying. It never really worked like great, if I'm being honest. It was kind of always a little bit sketchy, but anyway, you're not here to talk about my Pro Tools Quartet by Apogee. Yeah, oh well. So, okay, let's talk about a reel. This is great, Nico. Good job. I absolutely have notes, but a lot of very active consideration went into, whoa, 4K. went into your choices in editing and so forth. So it's clear to see. Let me go sidechain again too. Okay, so let's talk presentation. Oh, it was like a low quality video the first time. Sorry. It's the thing where if it's embedded, it like default says auto, but it chooses like it autos to hear or something. Excuse me, because you're not on YouTube, so it's like, oh, you want like a lower quality, right? No. Okay. So presentation wise, we got 1:08. Loved it. Had no problem watching the whole thing through. Nice work. The intro. Big old J cut. I would have liked something here, but I mean, not the end of the world. Like the J cut's fine, but the J cut's not very interesting. You know, it's just water. It's just water movement. You know, that's if it was something that's a bit more ear grabbing, like the first clip was some, I don't know, something a bit more abstract or otherworldly or whatever, where there's a little bit more creativity in the sound design. But the thing is, it's just water, so it's like, you know, it's tasteful, but it's just not. It's not adding any pluses, is what I'm saying. Next. Yeah, that's a cool idea. Like having it, we have this like abstract thing and then whoosh into the water. Could be cool. Fun little design challenge. Yeah. And the thing is too, we watched your Celeste implementation dealio for the first like half a second. Hi, and it happens right away, right? So if you have this clip, Nico Game King audio, Nico King game audio. If you have this as your intro for each video, has a lot of cohesion there. You know, ties all your content together. Seems very strong as a brand identity, and you can have this sound of this thing kind of like throughout all your pieces, you know, as opposed to having to rely on J-cuts. You know, what is NicoNoise.com fading in sound like? Who knows? Next. Okay, so some cool, okay, so just a fade out and then whoop. Good choice as far as when to fade in. Whoa, we're in the action. Here you go. It's kind of a sudden sound, mind you. Like we're fading out and then ring, but whatever, it's fine. Okay, and then next clip starts on the pause. That's great. Save and quit. We're done here. Save and quit. Get out of this game. Next game. Cool choice. And then it's the zombie slam into the next game, right? And kaboom. Great. Just obvious choices all around. It looks really good. I mean, not just that it looks good, like visually pleasing. I mean that it's a good look for you as a person, that you're putting this kind of attention into your editing. Good job. And yeah, Celeste isn't a very easy project to like ham fist into these two, like between these two projects. I mean, I'm sure as you're well aware, it's probably a challenge there, right? But I think where you did it, as far as coming in, with that screen transition from black and then out in the save and quit is a good call. It's cool. TM bass. What up? Yeah, we'll get to that soon enough. I have thoughts also. That's cool. And it finishes off and yeah, I'd fade a little more than you did. It kind of like fades down and it goes like, you know. I'm a big fan of. Can we do it? Can we do it? A little paint time. You know, here's your. We'll say like this is from, you know, the beginning of the fade out. You're like wah down slowly, and then like it just drops off. I'm a big fan of this fade out. Wah. You know, maybe it's personal taste, but just Bring us down for a landing, you know? Bring us down for a landing. Can't hurt. Sorry, 1 second. I saw too many things open. That kind of scared me. What are all these things? Oh, I totally have things open I shouldn't have open right now. Let's close these, shall we? Oh, my Lord. Why are these open? Close one. It's fine. Nothing bad. Okay. We're all good. We're good. Display. Open again. All right. Elricky. 09. The steps and Foley are great. Good work on that. Yeah, let's talk about some demo material, material selection, I should say. So we got a pretty high fidelity thing up front. We got Celeste next, which is the opposite game as far as like this kind of look versus this kind of look. It's very, very, very different, obviously, but this stands there as a, hey, you know this game, Celeste? Here's the thing I did. I used Fmod. I would certainly put Fmod implementation here. Fmod. You know? Throw it in. Can't possibly hear it. Sound redesign and Fmod implementation. And then we got more hi-fi stuff and more, well, hi-fi-ish stuff. I don't know this game at all. Skate Story. This is a new one to me. Looks cool, though. I like it. It's a specific kind of game to have in a reel, mind you. Like, this is... It's all skateboard, you know? That kind of occurred to me a bit after I watched it. Like, this one is a lot of action. This one is, like, some Foley and action. And then this one's just, like, skateboard. You know? It's really specific. So I'm not sure... It's not a bad piece. It's designed well, like good job. It's a question of like, where are you applying with this reel, you know? Because if you're applying it Larian, I mean, they could look at this skateboard and be like, okay, rad, but you know, we're making Baldur's Gate 3. Like that's our kind of game. We're not making a skateboard game. And not to say that these skills aren't transferable, because you're showing other skills as well, obviously. But it's... We talk about targeting your demo sometimes, you know? So I've talked to a lot of professionals around the industry, audio directors, folks who are on, you know, recruitment kind of capacity roles at larger companies. And in general... ages ago, Rob Krekel was on this stream and was like, yeah, I love seeing my work in like Uncharted 3 redesigned or Uncharted 4, whatever, right? Like seeing your own stuff redesigned. I love seeing Celeste redesigned. Love it. I'm not like, ugh, this isn't as good as my stuff. This wouldn't ship. Like, who cares? It's just cool seeing re-envisionments of stuff you've done. And obviously, if you're applying it Naughty Dog and you've redesigned The Last of Us, I mean, that shows, like, I know your projects, Naughty Dog. I know your stuff, you know? I mean, if you're applying with the redesign of their projects and someone else applies and they have redesign of Skate Story, I mean, who do you think is currently on top if they're both sounding good, you know? It's just obviously the person who is showing an existing interest and, dare I say, passion for the work that studio is already making. They're, of course, going to be a safer hire, right? It's less risky. So I'm not saying that the Skate Story shouldn't be in your reel. Just bear in mind, it is quite different than like these two projects. It's a great piece. Like, good job, you know? Yeah, for us, it's not a bad point. If you're applying to keywords or something, like some... You know, Boston Sound Labs, like I think David's still around doing this thing, but teams like that, Team Audio, you know, team like ours, then that versatility might be pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's a matter of, I'm not saying they shouldn't be here, but just consider where you want to apply and then try to aim your work in that like general direction as far as what that team might want to be seeing, right? Because down here, we saw you have a Last of Us redesign, stealth combat redesign. It's right up top. It's not in your reel, though, which is curious. So let's have a look. Whoa.
Cover me! I'm moving up!
Okay, so one thing that's standing out big time to me is that our heroes have voices, but no one else does. You know? Which is always a danger of doing voiceover in redesigns. Because you gotta cover all of it if you're doing any of it. You know? And if you do none of it, I'm fine with that. It's like, yep, we're just doing sound design. That's cool. No sweat. But, I mean, this guy turns around and just says nothing right here, you know? You know, it's like just nothing at all. Huh? Something there would be worthwhile. And then same thing, this guy comes out and he's just like looking at you.
You ain't going nowhere.
Okay, there's the voice on the Marauder. So, and also the, I guess that was actually this guy. But the thing is, it sounds like Joel. Because Joel's like, cover me, I'm going up, right? And then later on.
Cover me, I'm moving up.
And then if I close my eyes, that sounds like this guy. Like I thought that was the same person, but my mistake. But look at us, we're talking about voiceover right now, you know? Is that what you want to focus on? Probably not. Just bear in mind, it becomes part of the conversation, right, when it's in here. So it's and it can be overbearing as part of the conversation if it's got, you know, gaping holes or if it's horrendous. This isn't horrendous. It just has holes. That's all. I've heard some pretty bad voiceover in reels before. I think you can just kill off the voiceover entirely, Nico. Like no one's going to. Okay, here's the thing. We have two options here. You can, I mean, I think it should not stay as it is right now, which is one thing. So either you go ham and like design the hell out of it, perform the hell out of it, and get it all in there. Excuse me. Or you remove it, okay? Right, these are your two options. So do the one that you think is right for you. If you leave it as it is now, we'll look at these two options, okay? Leave it as it is now and take it all out. If you leave it as it is now, it can lead to conversations like this one, where I'm like, hey, there's problems. And if you take it out entirely, it'll just mean that I watch your clip and go like, okay, cool, no voice, that's fine. Then I focus on the sound design. So it's up to you. Again, this is it can't hurt to have that little like intro splash, but additionally, I mean, we can talk about design in this clip, but I'll perhaps leave those conversations for those discussions for the main reel. But I think you can do some more design than you have done for things like Foley and so forth. But like the body fall and the shotgun, there's a few things there that could be a little more designed out details wise. Okay, and yeah, let's talk about this in terms of content a bit. So we got. Okay, so Paracha, what's up, pal? Good to see you. There are VO available for the NPCs on YouTube. I think the channel Evil Banana has them, like from the game, because I wouldn't put content from the game in your reel. That's one thing. I would keep. I mean, absolutely don't put things that aren't yours in the reel. We've had people put in like the. They'd use like the music from the game and then mix it against their sound design. It's like, just don't do that. There's no benefit to doing that. Because A, we know what the music sounds like from the game. We know what the voice from the game sounds like. This doesn't show us what you can do. And it's just content that distracts from the reason we're here right now, which is to evaluate your abilities. And if you're just putting things in that aren't yours, then it just obscures that effort, right? So as much as it might feel like, oh, we'll just like have my sound and like we'll support that with, like, what would it be like if all the game's sound was replaced, but only the sound was replaced by me, and it had like the voice and the music from the game still. That may sound attractive, but this is not really. Yeah, I think it'd be a pretty industry-wide opinion that I don't care about that because I'm not evaluating the game's music that already exists. I'm looking at your work. So content-wise, let's have a look. There's some great like transition kind of moments here. There is a few things like the ambience, like you got a lot of width going on, stuff off camera. It's nice, like good job. The one thing, this is a pretty defining moment in this shot, is the trucks slamming together. Well, bam. That doesn't super sound to me like trucks slamming together is one thing. It really stood out the first time I watched this through. It sounds kind of like a bit like nondescript impact you might use for like a big thing got hit, you know, big monster made of various things hits a nondescript surface, like, you know, it sounded a bit like that. But this is really specifically two large trucks, kind of old timey, what was it, military vehicles looks like perhaps. Well, bam. So I want to hear like the metal, like a big impact of like, you know, the frames of these two vehicles hitting each other. Bam. Like that's what this moment's about. It's not just two random things hitting. It's like two vehicles, big ones. So hearing more of that would be great. And then like the fallout too. We have the crash, bam, bam, bam. There are some bullets coming in here and this guy flies up in the air, but we have room there absolutely to hear both the impact and the fallout, the kind of the reaction, the result, the consequence of this impact. Bam. Some debris comes off, hits the ground, bam, bam, bam. It is far away-ish, but they're huge. They're big vehicles, you know? We should hear it for sure. I kind of want more movement here. I don't know. Is it better having nothing for movement? I don't really know this project very well. Like having like some kind of movement there for the move. We have the but otherwise no or something. And then there's a bit of movement there coming down. Cool. And I mean, this project is really primarily about like your project of having done this redesign. This project is about, hey, I'm getting my hands dirty. I'm getting my you know, I'm looking under the hood. I'm putting stuff in the project. That's what this clip is about. It's less about like, are the sounds all appropriate for the project? Are they going to work stylistically and creatively? All these things. I mean, I did these sounds, right? So it's hard to be like, oh, this is like exactly what I would do, because of course it's not. But I didn't do this. But the dash is the one thing that it's. I mean, I spent so much time on the dash sound because it's the one thing you're gonna hear 1,000 times in the game, right? And the tail on the dash is, I think, a bit bold. Like if you look at the hair turning back to red, whoosh, whoosh. It stays around for a long time. The thing about Celeste, it's very moment to moment. It's kind of the name of the game, right? So having whoosh, things that kind of take a long time to come away. I'm trying to remain like objective here because of course it's my design, so it's hard to be like, you know, this is perfect for the game. But just I can tell you as far as my own motivations for design and the choices that we were making for design is because the game is so moment to moment. It was important to be careful about the kind of sounds that had that kind of tail on the back end. You know, like this kind of tail, right? Because we don't want to be stepping on things that are yet to happen. So if we like dash and then do something else, we want the dash A and then something else B. We don't want A stepping on B when it happens. Like a shh coming away, you know? So it was like ring, ring. Let's like A, B happen. So it's like A with like B underneath. So that is a design choice that was driven by game direction. Like, what is the creative direction of this project? What is happening? What's the player story from moment to moment? And it's just that there is very moment to moment gameplay. So having moment to moment sound design is important as well. It seems like this whole first scene is like ambient showcase in this context. I'd say it's good. Like for linear media, it would give a good place. It would give place for voiceover and music be emotionally right. Okay, you're saying like this would probably have some kind of voiceover narration or something. I mean, I guess so, but for the sake of this sound design, there isn't voiceover narration. So, and there is quite a lot of action. So I think I would definitely be judging this from an angle of like, is the action adequately designed, as opposed to, are they leaving enough room for something else? You know? I mean, there are pieces out there. The Assassin's Creed 2 redesign that was like everywhere for many years, because it was everywhere because in the original like the actual legit released trailer, there was no sound design in that entire scene. It's only music and I think some voiceover perhaps. So everyone's like, oh cool, I can sound design this because it's not already done. It's like it's gonna be completely fresh. And in that case, I mean, if people designed it to accommodate for the music and narration, it wouldn't be action-packed, right? But the whole point is to look at it kind of from a fresh angle, from like what you would do, you know? So yeah, it's a bit of a, if there is a question of like, oh, is there supposed to be something else here? Then I would maybe not use that clip at all and just pick something that's more obvious and clear to see and will not distract the viewer with other questions while they're watching it. Just let them watch it start to finish. That's fine. Let's go. Oh, also the death. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're definitely following my lead with a lot of this design, and that's totally fine. Again, just in terms of implementation, that's kind of the point, right? The revive is maybe a little bit of an overstep also. The death and overstep, the death and revive are similar to the dash as far as like, this is going to happen so much. Players are going to die so much in this game. We got to be careful about overstaying our welcome or being too punishing or whatever. This revive, like it's still going after she appears, you know. The high pitch thing. Yeah, it's probably is good enough. Again, what I did in the original game, right? But it's not just that I'm like, oh, my creative choices are like better than yours. It's not just that I'm making that kind of call. That's not the goal here. It's more like, why? Like, what is there reasoning behind how we are approaching these creative decisions? And a big thing is like player psychology, player mindset. What are they doing? They just died. We want to be on their side, and a big part of that is to not annoy them with sounds that are maybe overzealous is a way of saying it. And that's one. I think you can pull back intensity on that sound by 50% plus. Oh, the ending stuff on that sound is probably going to be a bit much. If you've died 100 times in one screen, you know, it's a lot to hear 100 times. You know, it's a lot. It's not like brutally offensive, but it's very easy to be a lot when someone's hearing a sound 100 times and they're frustrated. You know, if they're having a hard time with a level, it's not just that they're hearing this thing again and again. They're hearing it again and again, and they're pissed off. You know, so you got to be really careful with stuff like that. But moving on. Cool UI, by the way. Tasteful. Yeah, nice. The rollovers in the click is so good. Oh, lovely. Okay, so the Foley's a bit crazy. Who was saying that in the chat? Someone was saying that the Foley is quite loud. Like, yeah, man, the the Foley in this whole clip. The thing about this, we're talking about dynamics now, okay? And I mean, if we're looking at this clip as far as like Foley is, or just not Foley, as far as like loudness is concerned, I mean, you're kind of just, you're like here, you know, across the whole thing. There isn't a lot of room for, or rather, you're not giving yourself much space to have peaks and valleys. It's like Foley, big landing impact, big jump, big climbing over the ledge in the window, Foley, walk, 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 stuff yelling, and then like we're hitting the zombie, and the thing is, it's almost quieter when you are in the face of this screaming zombie, like so active, these footfalls, and then this scream happens, and it's like almost quieter than everything before it. I think it is quieter, which is crazy. Like, this is the big, we're flying towards the ground with a screaming zombie in our face. You know, this should be like, ah, right? It's a big deal. So there is, it's not that this here, okay, so Yanni, yes, you're bringing up a lot of good points here. So I feel like there's a sense of danger that was missing. It felt very calm. And it could be great to hear some little details, like maybe breathing becoming more intense, ambience becoming more focused, enemy locomotion gets turned up. Yeah, so the thing, I mean, I haven't played a lot of Dying Light 2, but I imagine you don't want to be seen by zombies. That's like every zombie game, right? I mean, I mean, are we stomping around? I wouldn't be stomping around zombies. I'm curious what the game's Foley sounds like, because it's like we see this and we're not, you know, we turn back, right? We're like, oh, damn, wait, what? So some kind of like aggro, like, hey, I see you, like something like that would be great, right? But if we assume there might be zombies in this building, I wouldn't be climbing loudly and stomping around, right? It's just quite loud. I think that in general, your Foley isn't bad. It's just big, you know? It's big. It's good to have those details. It's important. It's paramount to have those details in there. But yeah, it's just quite large. And because it's so large, when you get to the large thing, like the narratively large thing of this zombie in your face screaming as you plummet towards the earth, you just haven't left anywhere to go because everything is so big. So trying to be big there, it just kind of falls flat because you can't go bigger from big. And because stuff's already so big, it's like, where do you go? Yeah, it might be nice to have some kind of ramp there too. We have the scream, but like a, you know, as you either air or just like kind of non-diegetic stuff to make movement through the air feel bigger, more dangerous. There's a lot of room to consider player psychology in clips like this, you know? Yeah, TM does totally more impact when the player collides. It's like, I mean, the footfalls are there's so much bass content, and then the hit is like, psh, you know, it's so small. Poof, poof, big body fall. Boom. We're doing an active choice of like body slamming this guy and using the body for like a cushioning on our fall. That's a crazy choice. Isn't that crazy? That should be a big moment. Huge. So it's important. I can see you hitting on these like Foley details and stuff, Nico, but I would urge you to think more about where is the player's head at? What is the intensity, the drama from moment to moment? Like what is important? What are the peaks and valleys in the narrative? And try to match your mixing and intensity of mixing to suit that. Because it's all these moments are hitting. But I think the moment you start pulling down the quiet, like the things that don't matter as much, pull those down and bring things up, design more for things that do matter, I think you'll find that your mix starts popping a lot more, you know? And skate, let's go. So the thing is, we're not really hearing like the kicks for ollieing and stuff. We're hearing it kind of just like roll, roll, roll. You know, there's like there's kind of like kip ups, like you hear that on the up, you know, right there. It's like we have those, but I mean to do that, you're like pushing up, kicking your board down to slap it into the ground so it pops up. You know, we got to hear that sound too. I don't skateboard, but like I've watched enough Tony Hawk videos and like the breakdown with Tony Hawk, stuff like that. Here's me talking through the hardest tricks. Yeah, go reference some more skateboarding stuff and like really like that. You need those like connective, the little bits of connective tissue between the roll and the in the air moment, you know. Yeah, it's a pretty gaping hole right now. Anyone who skateboards would be like, oh, there's stuff missing for sure. Got to deal with that. Otherwise, cool. Nice work. Okay, and I do want to see just a little bit of this when we move on to your stuff here, Alessandro. Thank you for your patience.
My name's Nico, and I'm going to walk you through my Celeste audio redesign and reimplementation.
Let's go, Nico.
So this is what the project looks like here. I decided to redesign level 2, which is called Old Site, because it had some interesting game mechanics that I wanted to design. And I've separated everything into these 4 folders here. These are environment sounds, level sounds, Madeline sounds, which are mainly movement, and some UI sounds here. The biggest challenge in this game was designing the footsteps and other events that run off of this surface parameter index here. Basically, there's a surface parameter that gets thrown from the game, whole integers, and these correlate with this index here. So depending on what surface Madeline is running on or climbing on, the game engine will throw a number from here and it will correlate to several different game events in here.
So true.
To tell AFMOD which type of surface sound to play. So that correlates with the important ones right now are footstep. Landing also has the same thing.
Handhold.
Grab also has the same one, and handhold. So designing all of these was quite challenging. I'm just going to play through for a few seconds so you can get a feel for the surfaces.
Yeah, I'll say most people don't redesign the surfaces because there's just so much, right?
Next is the dash sound. So there's 2 different events depending on which direction she's dashing. They'll sound a little bit different. Just give some variation to Madeline's movements.
Do you know why we did different sounds for left and right? The thing is, it's not just left and right. It's actually, if you think of the octodirectional possibilities for Madeline, it's like this, right? You can dash into these directions, etc. So we have one sound. I think it's like, I know it's maybe like this. It's like these 4, and then the other one is like these 4. So basically, the idea being that for any given direction, if you dash like up and then down, if you're say in water and dash up and down over and over again, infinitely, you hear you have a back and forth kind of sound to it. And again, supporting players' story. They are not dashing over and over, they're dashing back and forth over and over. So having a back and forth sound kind of reflected is real important. Here you go.
So for the death sounds, those are split up into 3 different events, really. So the first event is the pre-death. That's the sound that gets triggered when Madeline hits spikes.
Whoa, so much things.
This is what that sounds like. And then the actual death sound. And then revive, back to life. So this is what that sounds like in gameplay.
Yeah, I know these headphones are pretty hard on the highs, but I feel like the pre-death is even a little bit crazy. But just like quite long. Again, moment-to-moment stuff, right? So you can even hear it. It kind of stomps on the follow-up death sound. Did you hear?
So this is what that sounds like in gameplay.
Like it's still going. The death, like, and it's like it's still happening. So again, just the moment-to-moment design. Like let this thing happen, get out of the way. Next thing, get out of the way. Next thing, get out of the way. Is it the actual death sound in the game? I don't think so. Let's see. Would I have heard that? Oh, it is! Holy, you're right. That is my sound. I was so focused on the because the was covering it up. That's why I didn't hear it. Yeah, 100%. That death sound actually is mine, but that's all right. I forgive you. But yeah, it might be worth crazy catch, Ben. My God. What is the ear version of eagle eye? Eagle ear. I love the footstep on the dream block too. It's so big. Love it.
Another big component of this level that I enjoyed making immensely was the dream blocks. So the dream blocks are these funky looking things. Once you get past a certain part of the level, it activates all the dream blocks and they go from being these solid objects you can't interact with to these kind of goopy objects that you can dash through, and introduces the new game mechanic that sort of changes the level.
Whoa!
Design those
crazy handhold.
Yeah. Just been bouncing around here so you get a vibe for what they sound like. This is what it looks like in the project here. So it's also split up into 3 different events. When Celeste enters the dream block, there's a quick short sound. That's what this is here, this event. And then the dream block travel is a loop that plays. It plays this reference loop, or this referenced event that's inside of it, and that will essentially loop indefinitely. So if I just hit this, it'll just keep going. So
it's a long one, yeah.
How large the dream block is, the sound will need to be played for shorter or longer, and this structure enables that. And then finally, when Madeline exits the dream block, this dream block exit event plays. Let's play through that again here. So that's a bit of an overview on my project.
Cool. So question for you. Your, was it death? There's something in here. So, okay. You have like this here and anime stuff, 0, 0. You have, I've seen a few places you've had 2 layers. Like here as well, death main, death tail. Can you tell me why you have 2 tracks? Because there are like good reasons to have 2 tracks for sure. I'm just curious if you're if yours is one of the good ones as far as reasons to do that. Because yeah, I feel like it's different iterations of the sound. Well, they're both playing though. This is it. Unless you have like a 0 volume on a region or something, do you?
Split up into 3 different events, really.
If you played it or not.
It's
I can't recall.
that sounds like.
Yeah, you're playing both. Okay, so this is, for a game like Celeste, this isn't the end of the world. Yeah, so it's just second layer, it's kind of adding in, it's missing something, it's missing something. Got it. So this is not the end of the world for a game like Celeste, because there's not a lot happening moment to moment as far as like number of voices. But realize that this is definitely a suboptimal method of Fmod implementation. Because if you play both these things at once, that is 2 voices in Fmod. It is 1 instance of the event, but that 1 instance is 2 voices. So for something like a pre-death that happens not very often, and in a game where you have like, 16 voices active any given time kind of thing, not a big deal. But just bear in mind, it's kind of like, while it might not be a big deal, it's kind of like a programmer showing suboptimal code, or like messy, quote unquote, code, not clean, quote unquote, code during an interview process. It's like, okay, well, this isn't so clean. And you can kind of explain it away being like, oh, well, this project isn't very intense, so it doesn't really need to be crazy clean. We have some room to, be a bit messy. That may be true, but in terms of using this approach to showcase your work, this may illustrate maybe a gap in understanding as far as how you would ideally use Fmod Studio. I've seen examples. I mean, I've done like consultation on projects where they just give me the Fmod project and say like, hey, point out issues. And I'm like, cool, got it. And I'll look and there's things like, here is a stinger that happens at some point in the game, and it's like a area done stinger, and there's like 9 tracks, and I can tell the person using Fmod is using it like a DAW as opposed to like an authoring tool for game audio implementation. And that's what this smacks up to. It's like, this needs like a little layer more. And this is like using it like a DAW. You got your automation, no big deal. You've got, although also pitch shifter is a pretty rough one to use. Be aware, this is a very expensive plugin to use in terms of CPU. But having 2 things, it's like you're using resources kind of for no good reason, Like you could easily just design this sound so that the source asset sounds like this event. Does that make sense? Like press play on this event. We have this sound that plays. On my rig here, this desktop, I do this sometimes. And I'm like, okay, well, this has, in the example of that stinger in that project that had like the 9 layers, I was like, there is no good reason. This only plays like this whenever it plays. So I just I routed Fmod out to a different machine, pressed record, pressed play in Fmod. I'm like, cool. Now we have that as 1 sound. I killed everything in that event, put that 1 sound in. I'm like, done. Now it's 1 voice and not 9, like for no good reason, And it sounds identical. the player will have no idea we did this, but it just will run better, And we won't risk things like voice starvation, and we don't need to worry about if you have a game where it's like, if you're making like Overwatch or something like that, where it's like a multiplayer project, many things happening all at once, voice management becomes paramount, And if you're applying at teams that are doing AAA style projects, this kind of voice management becomes much, much more at the forefront of your considerations. It's less an issue with Celeste. You could have every event could be like this, and it'd be like probably fine. But yeah, being able to just tighten things up is real important. Anyways, again, not the end of the world. But just bear in mind, it's all about like how you're coming across and how things might be interpreted, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's one thing that stood out. Figure I'd just make mention of it. I think I'll stop there for now. A lot of things here, though. Nice work. It's kind of thing where people probably won't listen to all these things, but they might see one like, oh, let's watch Skate Story. Let's watch like the Goner 2 thing. Excuse me. There's like, you have kind of a place for people to land, regardless of what they want to do. You know, good on you. Pretty cool. Nice work, Nico. You're doing it. You're doing a lot of good work here. Well edited reel. I mean, there's some room to consider a lot more consideration for during the process of putting sounds to things, that creative process, that decision-making process. Think a lot more about player headspace. It's really, really important. And creative goals of the project, like what's happening moment to moment. Do we have time for sounds to be long? Does that make sense in terms of making space for things to come after? If things aren't coming for a while after this, then yeah, make it long. You know, make a big long thing, and that's totally fine. There's in terms of structure of sound and intensity of sound, all these things, it is so important. Like this kind of next level up, effort and point for you is to, just consider player psychology a lot more. And a lot more in terms of like narrative of what they're doing in the game, as time passes. Are you supporting that? Are you driving that? Okay. So thanks a lot. No applause button, but hey, well done. Cheers. Okay. So I'm running long but that's okay. I'm going to work a bit longer today. So we're talking about like some Fmod things and so forth. Kind of, it dipped into tutorial mode for a bit there, as opposed to just review mode. But, let's look at Alessandro, shall we? Yeah, so Alessandro, you can consider all the tutorial stuff and narrative stuff, psychology stuff, as part of your review as well. It's just like general stuff. It's like a general lecture, I suppose. Okay, Alessandro, let's go. So we got home, my work, sound design, music, contact. I think it's looking weird because I zoomed in. Oh, it's not. Contact's down here. It's kind of strange. It's supposed to like over here, but no big, I guess. Okay, so we got, is it vertical? It is not vertical. Oh, my work goes to an about. Okay. Sound design, music, contact. And music is your face in a video. Okay, let's do some unusual things right away. We'll see. So my work, I didn't expect this to be basically a bio. I think about would be maybe a better thing to put here, but your call. My credits include feature films, games, advertising, campaigns, and advertising, not comma, advertising campaigns and TV shows on major networks. So games is second in a list of a bunch of things. So bear in mind, we're definitely going to be reviewing this page, Alessandro, from an angle of you are using this website as your primary piece in an application to a games studio or for a games gig. Okay, just bear that in mind. Home has a bio as well. Okay, end filled. All right, here it is. Oh, okay. Was I not already there? Am I just crazy? Oh, you gave me this link for your portfolio, right? Is that what it is? I just went to this link from what you gave me. All right, so if I go to like .com, here we are. All right, so sound designer composer. Okay, so here's a small question. So you gave me the portfolio link. So I assume that would be what you are giving a sound, like, I don't know, a game studio you want to work for or something? Okay. So if you give me this, I wouldn't typically go to home for your bio is one thing. That's a bit unusual. Also, is that going to work? Home? There we go. All right. Alessandro Mastroianni. I hope I'm saying that okay. Mastroianni. I am an Italian sound designer and composer based in Edinburgh. Cool. I love sound and the creative potential it has to tell a story. Hey, we've been talking all about that. Inspired by some of my favorite artists, from John Cage to Richard Devine. I love walking the road that crosses the border between music and sound design. I love field recording, interactive audio, modular synth, guitar pedals, and microphones. Done. Okay. So you're a freelancer working in multiple areas. Unfortunately, it's a necessary evil. Yeah, I mean, kind of. This felt kind of abrupt to end. I love these things. Peace. I would like to, I mean, okay, this is about you. This is not really about you. That's about probably everyone. This is like a little bit about you. Like you like these, you name some people you like, but again, this is pretty, it's like a little bit more about you, but it's still generic-ish. Then you love these things. That's a little bit about you too. But I feel like I'd love to know more about you specifically. Like, did you go to school? Are you working in certain areas? Like, do you lean towards certain styles? What, you know, you are inspired by artists, but like they've done a variety of things, you know? It's, I'd like to know more about you specifically. I loved Nico's bio because I had a lot of kind of calls to action. Like if I'm interviewing Nico for a job, I can be like, yo, you know, you like A, B, and C. Tell me about your time doing, was it again like rope something? Rope rigging? I can't remember what that was. Cell tower tech. Like there's things that are like really specific to Nico that stand out in your memory a little more. And that's kind of the point of, I mean, writing a bio is so hard, but it's the point to have like things that stick out so that you can stand out in a crowd. And like your bio is one way to do that. This here, we always see things like, I am passionate about game audio. And it's like, yes, everyone is. So when you write things like that in there, it's kind of a disservice to yourself because you're just describing yourself as the same as everyone else, as opposed to I am unique in some way. And here's what that way is, you know? So just a small, I mean, I know writing bios is brutal. It's so hard and I hate it more than anyone, I'm sure. But again, necessary evils, you know? So, okay, sound design, music, my work. See, this is why it's weird. Like, is your sound design and music not your work? That's why this is a strange link to me. Like, my work, I would see as an umbrella of these two things. But if we go to my work, we get credits, kind of. My credits include feature films. We read that. As a sound designer, I've helped teams create custom sound palettes for big video game franchises, films, and ad campaigns for premium brands. Okay. I'm a sound designer with the amazing team at Mad Rooster Game Audio Lab and a frequent collab of Krotos and Arturia. Cool. I know those names. Have scored 4. So these are great. Like this should be your fucking bio. So I'm swearing. I try not to swear on Real Talk. I apologize. This is way more you. I love this paragraph here, I guess sentence. I've scored 4 feature films, few games, some ads, and my music's been featured on Kids. Okay, so here's the thing. This comes up occasionally on Real Talk. I'll try and be brief because we've talked about this before. But the idea is that if you're looking to do a variety of things, films and games, commercial content, whatever, it may be an idea to make kind of like duplicate versions of your website and have maybe home, and home has not this, leave that alone, get it out of here, put it on like an about page in the main page. Instead, have home, don't have sound design, music, my work. Instead, have film, games, commercial, like whatever your umbrellas are that you choose they should be. Have those things here. And then if I do stumble upon your page, I'll be like, oh, games. That's why I'm here. Because the thing is, if I'm looking to hire you for game stuff or to collaborate with you for game stuff, I don't care about your film stuff. It's not relevant to me. You know, it's not that it's not worth talking about. It's not that it's not that it is without value, but it's not relevant to the immediate reason I'm here on your website. And it's the exact same thing. If someone's looking to hire you for their short film, why do they care about this like Fmod thing you were doing? You know, it's a matter of people have limited time, so you can cater to their limited time by focusing exactly like, hey, just predict, okay, they want to see A, B, and C. They don't care about D, E, and F. So screw that. We'll leave D, E, and F for like the film section of the website. And then have a bio on your film section that hits on all the film things you've done. Have a bio in your game section that has all the games things you've done. I agree it's a necessary evil to have like all these things covered, but I firmly believe there is a targeted method of doing this. And I've seen it done. I mean, Like Svi Sherman, Transient Gamers, is often in the chat, did exactly that. They sent in to Real Talk the games version of their page. And yeah, they're working on what, PlayStation now, I think it is. So it is definitely doable, and I think it's worthwhile for sure. So we'll just move on, assuming you've done just that. We'll try and focus on your game stuff, okay? So my work, I think, just get rid of this opening, go bio instead, marry this stuff with that bio on the front page, kill off generic stuff, keep all the stuff that's specific to you. Super good. I love all these things that are about you, like the Krotos thing, Arturia. Like, I know people at Krotos, you know, maybe we have mutual friends, who knows? Okay, so let's go to sign design. So we have, this is your portfolio. Okay, so one thing, portfolio up top, but it says sound design here. Maybe just marry those two things so they're the same thing. Game audio reel. Okay, John Cage quote, like not really about you, but okay. Sure, we can see what inspires you. And then more Mangini, also not you. Okay, we can see what inspires you. We got a Ghost Warrior sound design tribute. A tribute. I've never heard the word tribute used. Okay, so it's just like a fan redesign. It's just a sound redesign, basically, is what it is. Hobby project portfolio piece. Okay, I mean, yeah, tribute's kind of a weird word to use because that suggests it's like a fan-made thing, and you're not serious about this as a career, but you clearly are serious about this as a career. So it's okay. It's a mashup of Sniper Ghost Warrior trailers and gameplays from several titles. I mean, okay, that's fine. I mean, like if I were to make a fan redesign of something, I would choose, it would probably be if I'm like working and I'm busy and I don't need more work right now, I might call something a fan redesign. Like if I redesign, I don't know, like something that Josh did for Alan Wake 2 and be like, hey man, love the game. Here's a little piece I did for fun. Check it out. I'm not trying to get Remedy to hire Power Up Audio, you know, but it might be like a fan tribute thing I did for them. But yeah, just bear in mind, language is kind of important, you know, as far as what words you're using. That's certainly unusual. But cool. I mean, good on you finishing a portfolio project thing. That's, you know, it's tough to find time for that stuff. Okay, we have more things. You love Reaper also. Field recording. So cool. Walter Murch as a heading. Interview with Walter Murch. Crazy. Okay. Yeah, like this is cool. But this I'd fully put in like other audio, like game audio here, portfolio. It's like you're just sort of shotgun blasting us with like everything you've done. It can be tough to, you know, target what I'm looking at. It'd be nice if I can just at a glance browse around. Like if it was games only, I could see, you know, sound design, other audio, you know, music, whatever, and go other audio. It's like Walter Murch interview. Oh, cool. No way. That's a pretty interesting thing, you know? That's great. I'd love to like talk further about that kind of thing if we were, you know, talking about a possible collaboration. Like, wow, you talked to Walter Murch. Neat. I haven't talked to Walter Murch. How'd that go? Let's watch a reel. 1:03. 3, 2, 1, and turn off our sidechain. 3, 2, 1, and go. Oh, it's doing the thing again. It's doing the poor quality. It's saying auto, but it's lying to us. It's not actually 1080. Here it is. Android, same clip. So weird. Wow. Okay, claps again, please. Oh, that threw me off. Holy. That's an unusual clip to have appeared twice. So strange. What the? I've never even seen that clip before, and twice in the same day is bizarre. Pretty cool. The text was pretty funny. I laughed at this the Tsushima thing. Yeah, I saw it in the chat. I didn't realize it was you who said it. I thought just someone said that it was the same same clip. Oh, same my reel, but I didn't connect the dots. It was actually the person who we were looking at next. Bizarre. Okay, so neat. Thank you. Pretty cool. Strong design. So this is unusual. You didn't have your name anywhere up front. I'd like to have your name as like a splash somewhere. And we have game audio demo reel is kind of funny. There's a lot of split attention here. There's like what's happening gameplay wise. There's like your text up top, text on the bottom still, text here. It's like from a presentation standpoint, I mean, you know, you've worked on your share of film and, you know, narrative media and stuff. Having some semblance of like walking us through this, you know, look at this and now this and now this and now this. We have like pacing. We can keep track of what's happening. Your name being one thing, what this is, game audio demo reel, and then like what the project is and stuff. But having all this stuff at once, it's a little busy and it's tough to know. Well, it's tough for you to control where my attention is. You have all these things. I might be reading this right now, and meanwhile you have like cool things happening down here that I'm not aware of. You know, so just be aware of that kind of thing. The presentation here is unusual. Typically, it's Ghosts of Tsushima with parentheses developer or like hyphen developer or something, and then beneath that what you did. This being up top, official trailer redesign is. Yeah, it's just unconventional. So leave it to you to decide if you want to leave it like that or not. But this is definitely an unusual presentation of these things. Okay, next up is another trailer. Okay, let's just talk about some flow stuff. So we have the titling. It's minute and 2, minute 3 is great, no problem. Happy to watch the whole thing through. This transition is a fun little effect. Got no sidechain back on too. Slick, but it wasn't really like a deliberate point to cut at. It was just like there's a flaming guy and changeover. It just sort of happens. We just choose to cut now. Not the end of the world, but isn't standing out. And then this clip, we have the title. I don't love when the trailer has like the title. We'll talk about that in material selection though, but we can talk more about that in a second. Okay, yeah, and moving into Elden Ring. So now, no cut or no like effect. We're just here now. Oh, sorry, back again. We're just here. There's no transition at all. So there's a bit of inconsistency in that respect as far as kind of creatively how you're presenting your work. Again, not the end of the world, but that inconsistency can just be a little minus, or rather you're just not getting a plus where somebody else is, and therefore they get the gig, you know? That clip kind of made more sense. We have like rumbling and stuff into a big cataclysmic burst. That's kind of the similar, you know, umbrella of thing happening visually. Okay, so 100% Nico, like, I'm afraid you lost the battle for this impact. This is a better impact. Cool finish. I don't love the presentation of your text here, the purple on the background and stuff, mainly because it just has nothing to do with your website, like the kind of design you've chosen in terms of your brand identity for yourself everywhere else. This font, this color palette, all these things. just has like nothing to do with your reel. This is very much its own thing compared to everything else you've done. So there isn't like this cohesion, unfortunately. And it's nice when that cohesion exists. You know, it's very, it's a lovely plus when it does take place. I'm going to go to a site and hope it loads for us. We'll see. I'll let it just do its thing while I'm still talking about this stuff. So into material selection, okay, we got trailers, we got trailers, we got trailers, and we got trailers. There's a lot of trailers here, right? It's all trailers. And the thing is, I'm not sure what kind of work you're doing. Like, you could be doing trailer design, potentially, maybe, as a freelancer. But, I mean, maybe that's the question, is like, what do you want to be doing? Because you're also doing, like, this stuff. So implementation, your reel does not tell me anything about your wise chops or about your even interest in implementation. This is, if I'm honest, this reel resembles what a lot of fresh out of school students stuff sounds like or looks like, as far as it's all trailers front to back. And it also looks a lot like people who work in film who are getting into games. They also have reels that look like this, where it's all trailers, all linear media, front to back the whole way. And the challenge with this is that if you're, I mean, I would argue the purpose of your reel is to give like a 1 minute gist of who I am. You're selling yourself. You're telling the story of you in 1 minute flat, you know? And unfortunately, this story of you left out a lot of details, a lot of plot details. We don't know that you're interested in implementation. We don't know you have any idea what video game interactive gameplay resembles in terms of sound design. All these trailers, they're built to be paced for viewing as like, this is action packed. We have like boom, boom, boom. It's a marketing piece, right? That's why this thing exists. I have no idea what your sensibilities look like in terms of designing for interactive media. So if you have a clip like the Last of Us clip we watched from Nico, where it's like, hey, you're walking up, stealth gameplay, stealth combat, you're walking up, you're like, snap neck, turn around, shotgun guy, because you were seen, now people are freaking out. There's like this kind of flow to it, where there's this bite-sized story that you're helping to support and drive with your audio work. It's kind of impossible to do that in a trailer, unless the trailer just somehow has like gameplay that has a nice little chop that you can, you know, or a nice cut clip that you can use, but it's unusual and unlikely. If you have a clip like Nico's Last of Us, that clip, it's a good little story. I can say, well, what do the low points look like? What's your detail work in Foley sound like? What's important to you in terms of, or what do you see as important in terms of this gameplay narrative, the player's personal narrative in the game right now? And how are you supporting that with your sound work? This reel doesn't show any of that. And although it sounds nice, I just think it's an incomplete picture of who you actually are and what you can bring to the table, you know? So just bear that in mind. It is certainly important, because I watch this thing through and I'm left with questions. And I would instead love to have questions like, oh, I wonder if I can see more of that, as opposed to, oh, do they even work in games? You know? Like, do they even play games? Do they just see some trailers and be like, oh, I can design that? Because that may sound kind of crass, but it absolutely is a thing, you know? There are gameplay clips on that same page. So yeah, I imagine there might be. And we watched like a bit of this one that has some gameplay, I guess. But you're kind of making me look for it. And people have so little time, Alessandro. People have so little time. And that's why I'm always pushing, like, try to make front load all the gists, the bullet points, give me all of them. And then if someone's like, oh, damn, gameplay, I want to see more of that, they can just do it. And they don't need to be like, okay, is there gameplay? Like, okay, what's this combat sequence breakdown? Like, what should I watch? Like, okay, Nova Revolver, like, what's this? There's a lot of questions being asked, and you're forcing me to click and watch for a while and like assess. Okay, 6 seconds also, this is so short. You're forcing me to assess if you have any idea about gameplay, you know? And the thing is, combat sequence, 6 seconds is not adequate to show me that you know what Like I was saying, that Last of Us clip, you have stealth, quiet, Foley, details. That moves into we're seeing, story point, big peak. And then like, oh my God, ramping up, someone else saw us. They're like pulling their gun. We're like close up, fight now. Maybe we hear more Foley up front because the camera's so close to the action. There's a lot of things that the flow of that story can be informing in the creative choices you're making for sound design. And 6 seconds is just not enough. Like we can watch this certainly. I mean, there's no Foley on and it's done, you know? So this is, we go backwards, footfalls, skidding backwards. There's no sound for that, you know? So even in this 6 second sequence, the quietest point in this shot, which is when they're breaking apart briefly, just has no sound. So I just have absolutely no idea. And the thing is, it's not to say you can't do it and you don't have the chops. I just don't know. You know, you're not telling us. So in this breakdown, is it you talking about it?
The most powerful skill that you need to nurture as a sound designer is possibly the ability to tell a story with sound.
Okay, so you know that. You're telling me we're speaking the same language here, Alessandro, you know? Yeah, it's just, so you know this, you just gotta show us. You gotta show us that you can do it, you know? And the thing is, a 5-minute video, like this kind of speaks to us like this is YouTube content for people who are interested in sound design, but I don't know that this is why I'm here right now. Like I don't need to be told about sound design. I wanted to see if you know. You can assume people who are hiring you know this, you know? So it's a question of like, why are people on your website? Are they here to learn about the story of sound design? I think the people on your site who are here to assess your abilities and see what you're doing, I'd be way more interested in like how you're doing it. And maybe, I mean, the story thing does measure into like why. I guess this could be a video about your creative choices and stuff, but I just don't know. Like sound design workout. And the thing is, I can't know unless I watch a bunch and my time is short and I got a lunch to get to and like 500 more resumes on my desk. You know, it's just, that's the challenge is being able to concisely direct people to be like, this is what you're going to get. And I don't need to be worried about like, okay, am I going to watch a minute of this and just like lose a minute of my time? You're talking for the whole thing almost. It's a lot of your head, you know? And the thing is, I'm not saying this video is not valuable or worthless or something. I'm just saying it might not be why I'm here as the person hiring you, you know, or who might be looking to hire you. Okay, what's this?
Building an interactive system for a game is not only an obviously necessary step for implementing sound, but also an occasion to be creative with sound design.
Okay, so Alessandro, again, this is you're telling us about game audio, but I'm here to learn about you, you know, and I just don't know where to go in the video to learn about you. If you're like, hey, my name's Alessandro, and I'm going to walk you through what I did to do this, this, and this. This is my, you know, this is my walkthrough of a procedural synthesis system I created in Wise for the purpose of X, Y, and Z. Like, just do that as your umbrella statement, and I can watch that sentence and be like, cool, I'm in. But I've watched 10 seconds, which may sound like not a lot, but man, 10 seconds can hurt when I have 500 resumes to go through, literally.
And think about optimization of resources. I built a little system in Wise that we're going to look at to explore some of the solutions and the opportunities that Wise offers in this sense. Specifically, I'm going to have a look at using procedural synthesis, impactor, and then we'll explore an alternative to having random containers with lots of sounds. Procedural synthesis.
Okay, so again, we're 30 seconds in. Man, like you gotta get going. You know, it's just... It's you speak very clearly. I can tell you're passionate about what you're talking about. I just need to know if this is something that I need to be watching right now. You know? Whoa, different man. Look at that hair growth between that video and that video. I love Reaper.
I've been a user and a lover of Reaper for many.
Okay, 3 things that will make you want to try Reaper for game audio. Like this isn't real content. You know, it's not portfolio content. It's a cool thing you did, but this is fully like other audio. Here's my YouTube channel with like content for sound designers and stuff. And it probably is a good video for Reaper lovers. You know, it probably is great. Yeah, just a matter of this page is labeled portfolio, you know? Pre-second child and post-second child. That's very funny. Yeah, I think that your design is solid, you know? You got some great sound design choices in here, and you have that kind of musicianship and just this music composition background as well to inform your sound design choices for things like pacing and things like dynamics and even musicality, rhythm. You have all that. It just sounds great. I think I almost don't even want to talk to you about content stuff because the biggest issue is just how you are presenting yourself. It's a huge issue right now. Huge. And it's brutal because like you've got so much to show. Like you've got so much value you have to bring to a team, you know? But it's just you're making us hunt. You're making us search for it. So I think just taking a step back, putting yourself in the shoes of someone who's working in a game studio and needs support because they are busy. And if they're busy, they can't be spending time like half an hour on a website looking through everything to get an idea of what you're all about. They can spend 10 seconds to then assess if they want to keep listening. In your case, I think they would want to keep listening. So, you know, bully to you. That's great. And then maybe after that first minute, they'd say, okay, so I may have some questions remaining, but you're going to go into like the maybe pile for sure. And now I need to answer things like, you know, what's this gameplay thing you did? Let's have a look at that. What's this like implementation thing you did? Can I see you talking about your stuff and see how you speak about it? Are you like a communicator? Are you obviously energetic and enthused by what you're talking about? There's all these things that are questions to ask, and their answers are in here, I think, but it's just a lot of stuff to sift through. And it's also, I feel like I'm not the target of these things. I mean, I'm absolutely not the target of videos like this as a recruiter at a games company. So the fact that you're showing me things like this can maybe speak to a bit of like, oh, perhaps you don't know, like in terms of if I set out some creative goals for a given project in terms of game direction, in terms of style, limitations, things like that. If I set these tenets out for we're making a project together, can you do it? Like, do you understand the concept of like making a thing for a given specific purpose? Like, you know, a gameplay experience, a certain kind of emotional reaction, a certain kind of flow through an interactive, you know, medium of some kind, anything like this. Can you do it? And the thing is, right now, you have a challenge of, hey, here is me, and let me walk you through why I'm awesome and why I'd be a great fit to work on your project. That's why this site exists right now on this like /portfolio page. That's why we're here right now. And this, as a video to serve that goal, just isn't really a fit. You know, like 3 things that will make you want to try Reaper. Like, dude, I'm busy. I gotta ship a game. I can't listen to your 3 reasons to try Reaper. Also, I already used Reaper. Why are you trying to convince me? You know, it's just, this isn't, if it's something like, hey, here's an awesome script I made in Reaper to make it easier to make variations or like to cut voiceover, like whatever, that kind of thing is like, oh, sweet. Cause like we're in the same, we can talk shop, you know, that's way more interesting to me than like you going to bat for why you should use Reaper. And yeah, the same, I hope that this all makes sense. I'm not being too dismissive, but yeah, again, 6 seconds for this one. I suspected it was gonna be short too. Yeah, you just need to show, you got to show more for gameplay stuff. It's so important. So hopefully it's all clear. I mean, we talked about a lot here. I got to wrap it up here, but we've talked about a lot, and I hope that you've got an idea of a way forwards. Because yeah, again, I think that you got a lot of strong work here, and like potential is high. You got a solid background and foundation. Just in terms of focusing, like where to like guiding people through your work in a way that you kind of know what's going to happen. Like you set this path up, and you have a relative certainty they're going to do this like first few steps, and after that you're not sure what they'll do next, but you have an answer for them. They can go here or there or to that thing, and when they're there, you then know what's going to happen. You can like walk them through that thing now, and they may have another question, but you have an answer for that one too. So you kind of picture this whole tree, and you have an answer to all the possible questions and an immediate answer to those questions, not like I'll go search for it and see if I have an answer somewhere, you know? Yeah, it's so tough. The whole like management of time thing is the biggest. It's such a big issue, big consideration. So, anyways, are you sending out? I mean, I think at this point you absolutely could be, but I think that you're not helping yourself with how much you're obscuring your work, and just like splitting attention, you know. So like between film and games and so forth, if you split things up, focus things down, make sure your content is fit for your viewer, like for the kind of person who's on this site for a reason, that's going to be, yeah, a huge boon for you. So, thanks. I mean, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out on, DM or whatever. I'll be happy to talk more about this kind of thing. But for the time being, yes, thank you so much. And like, great work. You've been doing a lot of hard work, obviously. Just craft how you're showing us. Claps, please. Claps. I have no claps button. I can't cue the claps like I usually do. Okay, I gotta run. It's we're running a bit late here, but I wanted to have that conversation. That was worthwhile, I think, for everyone. Okay, claps Alessandro, claps Nico, and I'm gonna go ahead and play us out with some, I don't know, this cover that's amazing from Tunic. Oh, it's so good. All right, thanks all. We'll be back, I guess, next week, because this is a makeup stream, so it's not 2 weeks to wait. We're doing one more week, and I'll see you again. Yes? All right, thanks, everyone. I'll see you soon. Cheers.